Merry Meet Annie here. I am back with some answers to questions that have come my way for another Q&A video. And this question comes from Homesar13, I hope I've said that right, who said, I was wondering what some good beginner divinations are. I would say to that, the simpler the better. I think the importance of beginning divination is to attune yourself to whatever rises up from within you. It's not going to be some process that someone tells you this is what you do and this will come of it. It is you playing in the world. The simplest divinations. Think of your childhood days, looking for pictures in the clouds, reflections in the water, figures in dancing smoke that comes off of a bonfire. The simplest divinations and the most powerful, by attuning to those, especially as an adult, because we connect then to the release we felt when we were children that didn't limit that. We could see whatever we wanted to see. Very important that we connect to that as an adult when we think about divination. If you want to take on some formal practice. But first, let me not forget, taking a walk. Taking a walk is an amazing divination when you open yourself to feel your walk. Take a walk, but only pay attention to what you hear. Tune out to the best of your ability everything else. What do you hear? Your body gets to a place of release of the heaviness of the physical, and you can wander and experience the world in a different way. Try it once. What do you feel against your body? How does it feel walking on your feet or wind against your skin, whatever? And use your other senses. Take a walk where each walk you experience, focus on that particular sense alone. A good way to do simple things. And if you're looking to be more sophisticated, you're looking at stones or runes or cards, just take one. Pick one randomly. Live with it, think about it, journal about it if you're a journaler. Experience it until you're ready to move on to the next one. That's how I learned the runes, one at a time, until I felt I knew them. That's how I've come to know stones, too, to use them in my divination, which is getting to know one well and then moving on to the other. The only danger to avoid is don't let anyone else tell you what you should feel. Beginning divination is about learning what rises up in you, what opens for you, what works for you and does not work for you. You can use people's systems. We all do. But let the first rising up be, I like this, it feels good, or it doesn't, and take it from there. I hope that is helpful. Beginning divinations are beautiful and simple and are nothing more than opening yourself up to possibility. Using your imagination, using your inner knowing, see what rises up. You also asked me, Say Karma, which I don't know if I'm saying that right, but it's Reese, asked me, do you think that we should consecrate things we get at pagan, New Age shops before magical use? So I would expand that to things we get anywhere, even if we find them in our house and want to use them for magical use. If you are going to dedicate that item to be used for that purpose, yes, I believe so. I don't believe there's a specific way you need to do it, a specific rite. I do believe that we each need to have something which to us is, this is how I will declare that this thing has no past. It is what it is from this moment forward. I am partnered with it. Here is how I am partnered in it. And here's what we will be together. Whatever you take on as a way of doing that, I do think is important. I don't think there has to be some long involved, put it out in the moon or at the sun at noonday and spend a half an hour chanting things over it and waving it through smoke and dousing it with water or whatever. I think that works if that's what your personal kind of ritual style is. And I would be lying if I didn't say that my way of embracing a new tool might be along those lines, but I think that it's not necessarily true for everyone. Something which you repeat, some act that you do, for everything that you embrace in your practice, that you are devoting to that purpose. Something which just says, from this moment on, we're building our future together. The past does not exist. We will take this step together. Here's what we will be to each other, and here is what I dedicate you to. Whatever you come up with that will do that for you. You also asked me, Reese, what is my favorite herb or incense blend? People who know how much I love incense will think, oh gosh, she probably can't answer one. Yes, I do have a favorite. It is the traditional temple church incense. It's the one that you will have smelled if you are in church at a high mass or if you are stepping into a temple. And it is usually a blend of frankincense, myrrh, sandalwood, and then other things are added. And it is my favorite. That, along with patchouli and amber added together, is my favorite kind of incense. Almost all bass notes and heavy and deep. I've adjusted it over the years because some of those sources are now endangered, because I'm not the only one. We aren't the only ones who like those particular blends. So we have actually really decimated the trees that some of these resins come from, and we need to be responsible nowadays to know that what we are using is not endangered, and adjust our traditional recipes according to, in my mind, whether something is now an endangered species. Don't forget that our tree brethren are often endangered species, and whether something is organic matters to me these days in my life. I do have one absolute favorite incense, and I don't make it often, and in fact I'm due to make it again because I've been yearning for it recently, so your question really brought this to mind. Those of you who practice along the Egyptian path probably know how to say this. I only know it as Kyphi and may not be saying it right. That's Kyphi. This is an incense that you make over a period of weeks. At least the way I do it, it is, where you add an ingredient each day and you end up with this amazing, amazing incense. There is none like it to my mind. You end up with a gum, something that you roll into small pellets for local use inside, or you make into larger nuggets for burning outside. It's very aromatic. It is heavily smoke and deep and resonant. I love it, I love it, I love it. And I'm going to look down because I will not remember the ingredients to rattle them off. And there are all kinds of recipes for Kyphi, so if it's something you want to try, you can go online and find all kinds of recipes. But here's the one that I use. I'm not saying the parts here because, once again, you'll find one that you really like. Kyphi, you add all your dry ingredients, and then you add all your wet ingredients are done separately over this period of time. To me, it takes between 2 and 3 weeks. And all the dry ingredients are frankincense, myrrh, gum arabic, dragon's blood resin, sandalwood, storax, copal, galangal, cinnamon, cedar, and orris root. Those are the dry ingredients. Now, separately from that, the wet ingredients, which you put together and they literally steep, and they end up in the end becoming very viscous. Juniper berries, raisins, dates, honey, red wine, and lotus oil. Now, a couple of things which are important about this is it doesn't rely on the use of oils, so you can leave out anything in this, which I think it's just the lotus oil that is an oil if you prefer not to use oils. Some people don't like to use oils in their incenses because they do tend to add a smokiness to the incense. Some don't, so I wanted to mention that. This works fine without the lotus oil from what I have seen. And you all know me, there will also be, because I add lavender to everything, a little bit of lavender. But the wet ingredients you leave soaking for that 2-week period of time while you are day by day adding those dry ingredients one to the other, meditating on the properties of all of those things. And in the end, you roll it together, and it becomes like a really Play-Doh-y kind of consistency. And then roll it in some powder, each individual pellet that you make. The pellets would be the size of the end of your finger, like a pea. The nuggets, I would say, the size of the end of your thumb. And you roll it up, and then you roll it in some kind of powder. I use benzoin, but it could be anything that has a deep significance to you. The purpose of the powder is to keep them from sticking to each other. And you keep them dry, and then you burn them on top of charcoal. That is my absolute favorite incense. I love it. If you've not smelled it, it's even hard to describe. It is heavy and rich, and it feels alive. I guess that's the best way I can say it. It feels alive. So that's my favorite incense. I'll do one more for this video from Jamango Baby. I'm sorry, I think I do know your name, but I'm not coming up with it. My brain is blanking at the moment. So Jamango baby, which is beautiful to say anyway, so I'm glad to say that. Do you believe in twin souls? If so, can you do a video on it? When I have in my head explored what do we come from and what do we return to, I have never felt that we incarnate as us, as a personality, over and over or at the same time, however incarnation is working. I have always felt that we mix and mingle and we come back, and that it is not just we learning and experiencing and growing, but in the between times there is a group of souls that we are one with. Kind of like an entity that in its wholeness sends out parts of itself to explore and grow and learn by being. How it felt to me was that I was part of from where I came and where I will go back to, and those I come in contact with on the astral level, that we are one. Not the one, but within what is a group of kindred which are indeed one entity that we are part of, and we are mixing and mingling of that. So not a twin soul, not something that is a duplicate. I have met at the astral level those I know who are part of whatever that is for me, whatever that group soul is. Recognize each other on the astral, where it almost feels like we come together in coffee clatches to discuss and share, compare our experiences living this life. It's almost like what happens in real life when you learn from feedback and sharing and someone else's viewpoint of what you are and are experiencing, in addition to what the perspective feels like from your own point of view, that there's this mixing and mingling of knowledge at that group soul level. I have found it powerful to me because very often in dreams and in astral work, I return with a viewpoint from the other parts of this wholeness that know me well, because I am them, that allows me to have a deeper connection to the experience of what's going on here and now, and what I might learn from it and take home from that. That could have been a video in its own, I guess, Yamango baby, but that's about all I can say on it. It's just something I haven't been able to formulate into words yet. So for now, we'll leave that one. I still have more questions people have sent. This is so much fun, as I always say. Thank you, everyone, and I look forward to your feedback and thoughts on some of the things I share. I wish you all mirth and reverence. Mary Part.